After the First World War, Bled was completely destroyed. European tourism had died out, and the buildings were in bad shape or filled with refugees. Also among the people of Bled, there was no real unity, which is so important for this branch of business. The solution came unexpectedly. The royal family Karađorđević had chosen Bled as their Alpine residency. So the market to Eastern Europe opened instead of the traditional West.
Please. Thank you.
The crazy 20s and 30s marked Bled and its three buildings with aristocratic guests in Hotel Toplice, Villa Bled and Park Hotel. At the beginning of tourism in Bled, there was a thermal spring with the Hotel Luizenbad. It was built in 1850 by the investor and post director, Mr. Hoffman. He carried the fame of miracle water from the pastoral landscape all over Europe. This hotel, which had the most capacities in Bled, changed its owners very often, but most of them used the building without maintaining it. With the establishment of modern tourism between the two wars, better times also came for the Luizenbad. In 1922, it was completely renovated and renamed Hotel Toplice. The building also became a political center point for southeastern Europe on several occasions. In 1926, the diplomats of the Little Entente met. The politicians from Czechoslovakia, Romania, and Yugoslavia met a few more times in Bled and cherished illusions about their importance and Germany's commitment to peace. This diplomatic fame regularly attracted the whole diplomatic assembly, which sunned themselves in the ruler's neighborhood and enjoyed the Alpine summer. The reason for the diplomatic crowd on the lake was the building on the south shore of the lake. The mighty Windischgratz built it in the 80s of the 19th century, and it was their summer residence, a manor. This place was so popular that it was occupied even in winter. When the Yugoslav king Alexander brought his court to Bled, Serbian aristocrats settled in this building. So it received a new name, Dvorec Suvobor, Manor Sajobor, which was given by a good king to the Queen Mary. But the hunting building was too small for the demands of the Yugoslav court, so they tore it down and began to build a new one in 1937. But before it was finished, the time of kings was over. The new rulers came to Bled with the last gunshot. Tito visited the wounded veterans in Bled for the first time in Hotel Toplice and probably noticed the unfinished king's manor. With a few orders, Villa Bled was built, and afterwards it hosted for many decades all state visits of socialist Yugoslavia. But the host moved to Brdo Kraj, supposedly because of the unpleasant climate. The aristocracy, before or after the war, could not live without their favorite habits, horses and golf. Near the settlement, the two buildings of power and passion were built, the hippodrome and golf course. This passion for white balls and fast horses gave politicians and elite businessmen a feeling that they were now completely equal with their colleagues in the Alpine valleys of Austria, Italy, and Switzerland. The third part of Bled tourism was born in its restaurants. On the shore, the restaurant Miner had an ice strand, and with the growing need for lodgings, slowly changed into a hotel, Park Hotel. Built in a typical old German style, it stood alone until the beginning of the 30s when Ivan Kenda came to Bled. This businessman bought almost all of Bled. His greatest work was done by adding the neo-modern style extension to this honorable hotel. The strange synergy of the old hotel and its new extension deformed the image of Bled for almost 30 years. Then it was completely pulled down and a new hotel was built called Park.
Is that yours?
夜孤舟。
A u Austriji ovo što sutra radimo da idemo sam do... Kapa moja sestra. Nije moja sestra. Hello. 640.
Can't memorize that one. It's a lot of sixes and fours and zeros. Okay, thank you.
And they all started being constructed in the early 90s. Slovenia reached independence on the 25th of June 1991. Camping site, you're not allowed to stay outside on some other parking lots. Actually, it's a nice place to grow up in, since it's, as you can see, it's quite quiet. I live in a house right behind this one, in a dead-end street, which means no traffic and still only 15 minutes with a public bus to get to downtown area. Architecture, comic condos you could say. Cheap housing was the main goal. At that time up until today, the price of the property tripled. We're becoming more and more centralized, so or own more and more rent, since nobody will give them loans that big. And this is one of the hotels. Now it changed its owner. It was built by Italians to another location to have some other lectures. But still, our education is moved away from the traditional School of Arts, and they established a gallery that they named Secession. It was at the turn from the 19th to the 20th century. So architect Plečnik studied education. He was invited then. See it here? Behind here is the bus station and the train station. So now they have a project to turn it into a modern passenger terminal, where you'll have a bus station, cathedral in Ljubljana, which caters to the ethnic Serb community. This this low building here to the left, classical style, that's our National Museum. And now we're coming towards the building at 1 to 2 o'clock that has a greenish copper roof. Take a look in the entrance. There's a bunch of nude people there. See it? They asked the artist, what the heck did he think Saturday, and it wasn't as nice. Well, it wasn't raining, but it was quite cloudy. Austria had no longer access to their main port. Here, beside the park, we have a beautiful Baroque church, right at the end, which is called the Church of the Holy Trinity. The reason, do you see the pillar of the Holy Trinity right behind this blue bus? A bit to the left, there's a pillar. It was before right in front of the church, but later on when they built the avenue, they had to move it. They call it also the Ursuline Church, because there's the Ursuline Nunnery right next. The nunnery was a lot bigger with beautiful gardens. Since we had communism, a lot was taken by the state. So the very spot where I told you that there's the first modern department store, that was all the gardens of the monastery, of the nunnery. So they took it away, built a square with the department store. Down below we have a building and they moved up. So now it serves only as a headquarters for the university. It's built in neo-Renaissance. Of the town Ljubljana comes from a word Ljubljana, which means love. 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 Yes. And also the name of the river comes from the name of the town. The river is known as the River of Seven Names. The reason for it is from its source, it runs across the Karlsbad places, it goes underground to the top. Each time we emerges, it gets different names, and for the last time it's narrowing down and you come to the narrowest part. That's where the old town hall was up until 15th century. When it starts opening up again, we have the old square, and then when the old square curves up towards the castle, that's where the upper square is. The oldest part of the ground. On the upper square, the buildings are still preserved as they were before the end of the 16th century. We had an earthquake in the 16th century, and that's when, together with the oncoming Ottoman danger, we decided to. The singing boy choir was from the town of Ljubljana. Now we have 4 choirs. One is on vacation, you can say. One is constantly in Vienna, singing at the Sunday. As the people in Ljubljana did not want to feel inferior to the Austrians. We'll go now inside and let's go to the crowd. Has already, that they will clear out soon. If you go from the middle of the map towards up, you'll see. A bit diagonally up to the left is a round, what looks like a round structure. That's Ljubljana Castle. And then you can see that the defense walls go down to the river. There's a round defense tower, and then the defense goes all along the river to the top, whilst there's a bit of it on the other side again protected by the defense. Ljubljana had 5 main gates, 3 land gates and 2 water gates. And if you take a look, Ljubljana flows right to the top. Never once where the defense is back. Now there's no sign of defense in the beginning of the 19th century, the Ottomans were already in its downfall, their downfall. They tear down the defense walls, and then when they started building manors outside the beautiful park. It had written that the nymphs came to the lake and saw the lake cry. And they asked if the lake, if it's crying because it can't admire the Narcissus' beauty anymore. And the lake said, no. I'm crying because I can't admire my beauty in his eyes anymore. It's all relative. So the artist is Francesco Roma. The same artist, the same sculptor, BBA. If you take a look at the fingers on the hand, R-O, double B, and A. R-O, double B, and A. 2 fingers together are a testament that a sculpture is his work. Also, if you later on go into the cathedral, you can go. Through here is to show you a bit more, call it, for electronics. And then to the left you will see a stone and brick building. That is our National and University Library. Work of architect Bled designed in the 30s, and now it has somewhat become too small. So they will build another one close by and connect them with a tunnel. We are now coming to the Square of the French Revolution. Why the Square of the French Revolution? Napoleon was here. Napoleon was here, and actually he gave the people the right to use their own language. And here they designed a monument to Napoleon right here, this pillar that you see. So we have Napoleon from one side